Well, are we on already? We are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I'm a minute early. What can I tell you? It's the pre-party presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information from the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm the other Timmy Thunder today, apparently. My name is Tim. I go by Alliance Gold. I'm filling in for Jay Cal. He is off doing adult things with his lovely wife. Happy birthday, Michelle. Hope you guys are having fun out there. Did I say it's Monday? It's Tuesday. It is Tuesday. And so I'm going to be your host for the next hour before Power. And guys, as I look around Twitter and at YouTube on the NWA page, I still have not seen a Power episode posted for this evening. I have heard on the Alliance-Wrestling.com Discord that there is going to be a clip show for the next couple of weeks around the Crockett Cup. But unless one of you guys out there have seen it and can fill me in as to where that would be found, I myself have not been able to locate the Power that we're supposed to be the pre-party for. But we'll figure that out over the next hour. We got a lot to talk about today because for my money, guys, the Crockett Cup was amazeballs. It was arguably, and to each their own opinion, and I know there are differing ones within the Alliance guys ourselves, but for me, arguably one of the best pay-per-views of the Lightning One era. Let me know what you guys think in the chat about Crockett Cup as we kind of run it down, tonight, over the next hour, and then maybe hopefully figure out what's going on with Power tonight. So Wednesday night, tomorrow night, we're going to be me and the other Alliance guys, which I'm normally part of. We're going to run down night one, which includes the details around those FanFest Dark matches and the pre-show matches, and of course the pay-per-view from night one. And then Jay will be back on Thursday with DKM and Jaden, and they're going to do the pre-show and night two pay-per-view matches and go through with you guys what's happened over the Crockett Cup. That's James Bell reminds me that it's Tuesday. You're absolutely right. If I said it was Monday, I am wrong. This is the pre-party. It happens on a Tuesday. What's up, Sam Retro? Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for coming. Yes, indeed. Happy birthday to Mrs. J. Cal. Sam agrees that Crockett Cup was absolute fire, and as the Pope would say, but that night one was his favorite. Let me know what you guys again think in the chat about that pay-per-view. The NWA, as Sam points out, gave us over 2 hours of free wrestling this past weekend. Yes, they did. They put some of those first round matches on the pre-show for before the pay-per-view on night one. And on night 2, they gave us some other matches. They gave us a U.S. Tag Team Championship Gauntlet match. Hey, my buddy Jeremy is here. Haven't seen him all weekend. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Yeah, please don't forget to like and share with your pals, your friends, your neighbors, so that the alliance-wrestling.com can continue to grow. Kayfabe Soup is here. You guys, I assume you are all familiar with Heebs and Kayfabe Soup, and that you're following him on all of the. Yeah, he looks different. I do look different. I'm better looking now, buddy. That's not true at all. But incredibly funny stuff. Huge following, and what a fan of Kayfabe Soup I am. Man, let's talk about some stuff. We only got an hour tonight, less than that now, obviously. But Crockett Cup was great. We're going to run down with the actual results. We'll talk about maybe if there was a swerve or a turn or something. But other than that, we'll just go through it and we'll get your thoughts as we go. Let's talk about somebody else just before we get into the Crockett Cup. Somebody who has been. I'm looking for a thing here. Here we go. Who has been holding down the NWA fort, anchoring at the desk, so to speak, raising the flag. And that's this lady right here, the Brick House, Camille. This is, as of today, 2 years with Camille as NWA Women's World Champion. As she said on Twitter, thanking everyone for joining her on the journey. She is turning the Burke into the Brick House. Could not agree more. The World Women's Champion, the NWA Women's World Champion, Camille, the Brick House, just again successful at the Crockett Cup. Another great pay-per-view match against Natalia Markova, and she continues her reign as undefeated NWA Women's World Champion. 2 years today. I think that's. That is amazing. My buddy from TOEG, as we call it, the other Alliance guys, Dave Scooby, who was at the event both nights. Night 1 was good, just too many matches in my opinion. I was worn out by the end of the night. I think there were, I can't remember what I counted, 23, something like that. It was just nuts, but super fun to watch. Man, no NWA 75 update. There is an update on Discord, Sam. So I encourage you to go look there. I'll leave it at that for now because I don't like to be a spoiler where I don't know that I have the ability to be a spoiler yet. If you're looking to get into that Discord, drop Cal a line and we can get you in for sure. Heebs asked if the energy level was higher than the late than the late start 312 pay-per-view. 100% was on camera, right? That's for sure. People were seemingly really excited to be there. Sam points out Camille, face of the NWA, hands down. Absolutely. Just amazing. And again, Heap saying, watching on screen, it seemed like the energy intensity level was higher on night 1. I guess that makes sense, right? I know that people they really got into some of the greater matches for night 2, and that was amazing. But look, I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'm in the minority, but I did think that watching these two guys. Spoiler alert to anyone who hasn't seen the night 2 or the winners yet, because we're going to go through it. These two gentlemen right here, the old Wrecking Crew, the old school tough. Got it done, as the NWA wrote on Twitter today. Captain Badass Trevor Murdoch and the Outlaw Mike Knox are your Crockett Cup tag team champions for this year. We all did brackets. It'll be interesting to see for the Alliance guys who came out on top. I got 16 out of 23 right, so I did really well this year. I'm really happy with that. Hope you guys did as well. Yeah, they're talking in the chat here. Yeah, the foam hands were a nice touch. You can buy them now at NWA merch. And Scoop says, I was by the entryway, lots of energy in that section. Yeah, we could see you every time somebody entered, Scoop. You had a great seat right there. The Wrecking Crew is a cool name, but I prefer the Shit Kickers. Well, I don't know that they used the Wrecking Crew. They kind of alluded to it a couple times, but it seemed like maybe they put the kibosh on that before it actually happened. But that other name's a good one too. Um, you know who else has had a great run right now and was celebrating it today? And I'm going to kind of shoot two birds with one stone here right now. Was this young man right here, your NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kerry Morton, is celebrating 200 plus days right now as champion. And if the gentleman that he's fighting here, if you're not familiar, guys, this is Barrett Brown. And Barrett Brown was the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion before the Lightning One era. 6 years ago, when Billy took control of the National Wrestling Alliance, and the belts were all but the worlds, I believe, were vacated, Barrett Brown was the champion. And so there's kind of been quietly for the last few years some, talk about, can we get Barrett Brown NWA Junior Heavyweight title match again? And Barrett in the past has gone, we'll see what happens. I'm not mad about it. But now in the last several months, it's really come alive on social media. He and Kerry are going at it over Twitter. He's got an amazing video out right now. I'm going to let Jay show on Thursday, I think. We got it locked and loaded here, but where he's saying that was my holy grail. I was a world champion 6 years ago. I never lost it. It was taken from me, and now I'm coming to get my grail back. And it's a great story that's playing out on the social media platforms. I really like the idea of Kerry Morton versus Barrett Brown. Yeah, as Sam says, why is Billy not bringing in Barrett? I don't know. He's a talent. And he says we should talk about Kerry. I was okay with potentially feuding his dad, but I'd much rather just have them both heal it up and just have Ricky be at ringside. Well, to that point, we often kind of half joked about how much we'd love to see Colby Carino and Kerry Morton team up as, sort of, I used to call them the Fortunate Sons as a tag team, right? Like our dads were world champions and we don't, we're better than everybody else. And that was one of the most exciting things for me personally at the Crockett Cup pay-per-view was the return of this young man, the last bastion of professional wrestling. Colby Carino made his return at Crockett Cup unannounced. And as you can see there in the shot, all these pictures, by the way, provided by our pal Dave Scooby, right from at the rampway there. Thank you, Dave. He's with his manager, Jamie Stanley. And I'm sure we'll talk about it as the week goes on, but Joe Alonzo came out alone, like, where the heck is Jamie Stanley? Where's my manager? And then, of course, Jamie came out with Colby. And he's still rocking that sweet stash. Willie Bowen's here in the house. I can see a whole bunch of people online right now. So by all means, speak up and thanks for coming out, guys. This is an exciting and interesting time for the NWA. We don't know what's going to happen in terms of what we're going to see over the next little while in terms of Power or NWA USA or any of the fill-in stuff. We had heard that there might be a Crockett Cup recap show tonight. We've heard or discussed that maybe there's some footage from some of the dark matches around there, or from Australia, from the Pumpkins tour that the Southern Six went down on, that could be talked about. But again, I'll hit refresh here, but as I sit here, I do not see a Power episode listed for tonight. Again, if you guys know something I don't, by all means, please let me know in the chat. And we're also kind of hearing something might be might be in the works, and we don't know what that is, but who knows? Who knows what's going to be on the in the immediate future for the Crockett Cup? Willie, hey, listen, cheers for Knox and Murdoch, the winner of the Crockett Cup 2023. Heaps is saying Brothers of Funstruction, those are the clowns, versus Cut Above Replay was advertised. Okay, great. I'm just looking on their YouTube page and I don't see a link to it though. So there you go. If there's some highlights, fantastic. What else? We talked about Barrett Brown, Kerry Martin, Camille. Let's just talk about the Crockett Cup, because as I say, this is traditionally, it's always been my favorite NWA pay-per-view just for nostalgic reasons. And I went into this with high expectations. And for me, only speaking for me, for the first time, in a little while with the NWA, I was standing ovation for me. This was a 4-star pay-per-view for me out of 5. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I was not disappointed by either night. I hope you guys weren't either. And there was so much action, as Scooby said, almost too much action. But let's talk about it as we go. With Willie saying Natalya versus Camille was the match of the year. I'm glad that you really liked it, Willie. And it's funny on that Discord. I feel like I'm pitching the Discord. I didn't mean to come and do that. But we actually have a match of the year category, so we could try to remember throughout the year to say, okay, let's put that in there as a potential one to look at. And I think someone has thrown that in. But it started with the Fan Fest dark matches, and with some stuff that most of us didn't see, unless you were there like Dave Scooby was. We did not see Jack Draper and Mims defeat the Spectaculars to advance in the Crockett Cup first round. We had the qualifying 4-way last chance match where the Outrunners, who were the kind of the last minute entrance into that 3-way tag team match, Daisy Kill and Talos, Sal, the Pal, and Gags of Gimp, and Jeremiah Plunkett and Eric Jackson were originally in it. The Outrunners ended up going into that match, were announced late, and they won that bad boy. They ended up winning by pinning Eric Jackson at the end and earned that number 24 seed. Heaves is just saying, I'm going to try to keep up with the chat as I go. Discord is where it's at. Hey, I don't want to just pitch ours either. Gary Horn and the NWA have a great Discord. Lamb has a great Discord around the centers around the UWN as well. So, yeah, I mean, hit us up and we'll get you guys in if you're not in. Sam said I had low expectations for the Crockett Cup, but as soon as the pre-show came, it blew my mind. Yeah, buddy. Camille versus Natalia Markova should have been the main event. I like for the Crockett Cup the traditional way, where it has always been, quarters, semis, then the world champion defends. Like it's always Ric Flair versus Ronnie Garvin, or Ric Flair versus, I don't remember who. Wouldn't have been Barry, probably Dusty or something. I don't remember. And then the finals of the Crockett Cup to finish up a tag team tournament. I mean, while I certainly respect the idea that Camille's anchoring that pay-per-view, it's a tag team pay-per-view, and it would feel weird to me to have the world champion male or female world champion kind of anchor that thing as the last match of the night. But to each their own. I was able to appreciate this Crockett Cup over previous ones. Dave says the Outrunners are such a good throwback tag team. Yeah, they're kind of like if like Magnum, what's that show? Magnum PI and Miami Vice. That's what I was thinking of. Kind of exploded. Like it's like 1985 exploded all over the NWA, and that's what we got. So they won that match, and then also in that Fan Fest dark match, Judas and Maxi Impaler defeated the Now. I'm not sad that that Max and Judas got through, because I really dig them as a team. But I was disappointed to see the Now go out so early when I couldn't even see them on television. I really like the Now, and I think that they bring a lot to the National Wrestling Alliance, and can continue to be a major force in the years to come. So we go to the pre-show after those three matches. And it started off with Flip Gordon and Fodder defeating Dan Moff and Sean Donovan, sent to slaughter. I'm not going to go through, as I say, these until the first night. We'll do the details tomorrow night. Second night on this Thursday night with the Alliance guys. The Flippin' Psychos, they used Dave's name there for them. Flip Gordon and Fodder defeating Dan Moff and Sean Donovan. The Savages, Dane and Blake Troop, defeating TNT, Terrell and Terrence Hughes, who I've never seen before. And I enjoyed them calling for the 3D to honor their dad, Devon Dudley. And they were young, and I thought they were fun to watch, and that's the beauty of the Crockett Cup. There's so many matchups you're not going to see. You're just never going to see again, probably. Willie is a TV connoisseur. Magnum PI debuted in 1980, and Miami Vice debuted in 1984. Wow. Do you guys remember? Do you remember Willie when Magnum PI did the crossover with my favorite show growing up, Simon and Simon? They went on each other shows. That was great. Old guy moment. Sorry about that, everybody. Flip Flop. Yep, that's a good one too. And as Jeremy says, I pop when they used Dave's name. Yeah, the Flippin' Psychos. They used it. That was awesome. I've only ever heard Dave say that before they did. So, we then got after the Savages beating TNT, we got Sorry Jer. We got the Brothers of Funstruction with arguably an upset victory over the Fixers. Boy, what's happened to the Fixers, guys? They couldn't get into the Crockett Cup through a win. They had to appeal to get in, and then they're out. They're out to the Clowns, and that was interesting. Dave would like to see TNT at more NWA events and tapings. Good young team that wrestles as a team. Yeah, Willie remembers, man. That was a good show. I love Magnum PI too. That was great. It was better than Miami Vice. You're right. We then got Toxin and Arez, who I was the lone guy, I think, on the Alliance Guys program last week to pick them to go through. I figured it had to be at least one AAA tag team going through, but anyway, they ended up defeating the Heat Seekers, who I think were also favored to go through on that one. They're going to go through to advance to face Ricky and Kerry. We then got this is all in the pre-show, by the way. Kratos and Odinson defeating Magic Jake and Brian Brock. By the way, Magic Jake has done some fire promos recently. And just if you look him up online, just like he's angry, he's telling Billy all he's done is by putting him with like this big, mountain cowboy. All he's done is combine Gunsmoke and snake oil. I dig it. It's pretty fun stuff. And then finally, the Outrunners, your last chance winners, they got into out of the first round of the Crockett Cup with another outset after their surviving that 4-way match by defeating Scion and Jordan Clearwater. After this particular match, this is one of the moments I want to talk about. We had this intruder, big masked man using another Scion mask, the black one we've seen before. Attack Scion in the ring with Austin Idol just standing idly by. And then Idol just kind of walked off as Sion was writhing on the floor. So it was an interesting way to start the evening. Just before we go right into the particular pay-per-view, yeah, I bet you've got some things to say about the Brothers of Funstruction. I look forward to hearing about it tomorrow night, buddy, when we have our show. Willie says, "Say goodbye to the clowns and Pollo." I don't know that you put like I don't know anything about arguably anything, but I don't know that you have the clowns go so far as in this tournament as they did, and then not feature them for the next set of tapings whenever that happens. So I don't know if you're going to say goodbye to them. I can almost assure you, you're not going to say goodbye to Pollo either. I don't really care, Phoebe says, for Flip style, but dude is miles and miles ahead with his craft to the majority of the NWA Juniors division. I kept saying to my wife, who's an NWA fan now, can someone just sign Flip Gordon? Can we have Flip Gordon all the time? And I agree. His style's different, not my favorite, but he's so good. He's so fluid. And, I think there's so much that can be done with Flip and that, can be taught to the other guys as well. Willie says, Idolmania Sports Managers sinking like the cruise ship Titanic, 100%. You think at the end of last season, I'm not really talking about seasons anymore right now in the NWA with programming, but, they had all the belts. They had everything just about. So they ruled the scene, and now it's a different day. Let me see. Sion should never have taken the suit off. Dude looked so huge. I thought he was Crimson. Yeah, not Crimson though because of the tattoos, but I also immediately thought it was Crimson. Crimson's got tattoos all the way down the side. Not that I remember that, but I had to look it up. Dude, the next tapings are in Chicago, where the clowns are from. Buckle up for way more clowns. There you go. Flip Gordon versus Kerry Morton. I'm on board. What about you guys? The Reluchador says, I'm okay with less Austin Idol. He's just annoying, and I'm ready for something else. All right. No argument for me. And Heebs, people forget that Flip was basically a tippy-top indie guy at 18 and 19 before a few huge injuries and the world going on pause. Yeah. I feel like he exists in a strange time, and that some strange things have happened around him that might have prevented his future growth up the ladder a little bit. But boy, what a talent. And the NWA could really benefit from him. So on to the pay-per-view for night one. Crockett Cup, it's second round now that those first round matches are essentially done. And I've lost my space. Here we go. It was Blunt Force Trauma, your number 8 seed, defeating the Outrunners. No big surprise there, I don't think. With BFT, who will end up doing very, very well in this tournament, as we're going to see. Kratos and Odinson defeated, arguably, I'm going to say arguably an upset. I picked the Country Gentlemen to go through here based on the fact they are the United States Tag Team Champions. And I thought, how does it happen that your U.S. Tag Team Champions don't get out of their first match after receiving a bye? But so maybe a bit of a shocker. But maybe not. I think a lot of people right now are high on the idea of Kratos and Odinson as a tag team. They're calling themselves the Immortals, by the way, and I think that's interesting. Let's see here. And IWC pretty much left him behind when he didn't want to go with the Elite to AEW. Okay, well, I mean, everyone makes their own career choices. Hopefully that, it works for him. Willie asked BFT is going to get a second opportunity at La Rebellion. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see, seeing how well they did. And as we'll see, how they ended up going through the entire tournament and, taking that final spot. Yeah, maybe they certainly are a likely candidate to get another shot. It makes my illegitimate third cousin. Hey, Jason Cayley is not a jabroni, but he has been called the ham sandwich at some point on this particular show, and it's his show. Thanks for letting me fill in, Jay. What happened then? So after your U.S. Tag Team Champions were shut down, and we ended up going to our first singles match of the tournament, where Joe Alonzo defeated Alex Taylor in a match to enter the scramble for the right to enter the scramble for night 2. It was an interesting match with a storyline, but again, we'll go through that whole thing. Honey, the Crockett Cup was so great. Show me the excitement that we had watching it. It was so good, baby. All right, she can't hear me. She's upstairs. Oh. Nope. Okay. She can hear me now. If I can pretend to fantasy Scoob NWA 75, I'd have Rebellion retain over BFT at the next tapings and then finally drop the belts to Knox and Murdoch in St. Louis. Will Knox and Murdoch be a permanent tag team? I certainly think for now. So there you go. I mean, you don't win the Crockett Cup and then go, well, that's it for us. I wouldn't think. So Joe Alonzo defeats Alex Taylor. He's going into the scramble for night 2. And then we get a match between Ricky Morton and Kerry Morton against a Toxin and a Rez. And this is the second round now, of course. And in this match, I'll bring up this spot because it's kind of important to the whole plot. And I said I'd sort of touch on those. At one point, Kerry, who's been kind of teetering, maybe stepping over the line with his toe into heeldom for a little while, went to go grab his title belt to hit, I think, Toxin with it. And Ricky kept pulling it away and going, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then Ricky, with the referee's back turned, well, there's only one. It was a Rez. There's only one way to say this, guys. Heel turn. Richard Morton of the York Foundation has returned. That's a deep cut. Ricky Morton joined his son and kind of said that he paved the way in wrestling only to be spit on at this point in his career, and to hell with that, he'll do things his own way. So bit of a swerve where we all kind of thought that Kerry would end up feuding with his dad Ricky. No such dice. They're thick as thieves, those guys. Even after the match, there's a really cocky little vignette you can find on Twitter where Ricky kind of goes past the camera and makes a surprise comment. And Kerry kind of looks at it and goes, "Not even I saw that coming." So there it goes. Yeah, Jay says, "I knew Ricky Morton was a no good son of a bitch." You got to use your JR voice, I guess. There. Yeah, I prefer the baby faces chasing titles. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Say hell no to Coward Cardona. I don't think we're going to see him again. Maybe someday. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I'm going back up here. Then we have Matt Cardona and partner Cheat to get the belts off Knox Murdoch. That's what Heaves wants. Chris Adonis and Blimpo Tyrus will implode. Willie says, "I agree, man. It ain't built to last. That's for sure. There's just too much ego in that particular ring between those two guys. And if Tyrus isn't careful, could be looking at a new world champion down the road." Crockett Cup did a great job, Scoop says, of building some teams to go after the world and U.S. tag team titles. Looking forward to the next few months of NWA programming. Me too. So after that heel turn, it's the Brothers of Funstruction against a Cut Above. Well, this one was in the bag, right? I mean, it's professional Red Titus. And it is what do you call himself? The king of all evil, Tom Latimer, your world's television champion, against a couple of clowns. Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. Once again, the brothers of Funstruction defeat Latimer and Titus to advance. So another big shock. You got to have those shocks in these things. So, like my wife was saying earlier, it is. We were pretty excited watching, this pay-per-view up to this point, and honestly beyond, guys. Camille ended up coming to the ring at the end of that match, and she said to her husband Tom Latimer, "Forget about this. This tag team didn't work because you're a singles wrestler. Concentrate on getting the lucky 7 under your belt, and you're going to take that NWA World's Heavyweight Championship from Tyrus." And then, boy, did she ever drop some atomic bombs on Tyrus's name. She said, "I'm the workhorse champion. Everyone knows I'm the real main event of the NWA. I'm defending this belt all over the place. I got 2 years as champion." And, talks a little bit about Markova, about how she isn't going to underestimate her this time. But yeah, she really gave it to Tyrus. What happened to Jay, Dodie asks? Last time he was absent, he was crying over Titus winning the title. That's true. He's with the lovely Michelle on a birthday celebration for his bride. Hey, the mighty Hisa is here. The great Hisa. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry I'm not Jay. Heeb says Masters basically wrestling and moving like Prime Sting. Yeah, man, it was pretty good. Can we agree? And just for that sort of like he had to carry the load for Tyrus. Like, there was a knee injury on night 2 that I guess we'll get to, assuming we have time. We got 25 minutes, so there you go. But can we agree, Dodie asks, that the Crockett Cup is the best post-pandemic NWA pay-per-view to date? Yeah, I kind of opened the show, Dodie, saying I think I agree with you. I'd have to really kind of think back to all the ones that we've seen so far, but for me, I loved it. I thought it was a 4-star out of 5 pay-per-view, and that's like a really good rating for me. Sometimes when we come on this show or the other Alliance guys or the Alliance guys itself, and we end up kind of going like, I don't like what A, B, or C are happening in the NWA right now. I love this pay-per-view. Again, I know not every Alliance guy did, but not every one of you in the Alliance family probably thought it was amazing from top to bottom. But there you go. Dodie Heaps agrees with you. He'd have to rewatch NWA 73 or Empower. Recent bias is real. That's true. Recent bias is real. The only way Tyrus moves fast in the wrestling ring is to suspend a box of glazed donuts from the ceiling. Oh, Willie, really? I wouldn't. Tyrus eventually leaves the NWA. What will you do? Who will you pick on next, my friend? I shudder to look. Let's keep going. Mysticis, and I'm sure I'm saying that name wrong, and I'm so sorry. Junior and Octagon Junior end up again, arguably, with an upset victory over the Savages. It was a good match. It was an exciting match. We'll talk about it tomorrow night on the Other Alliance guys. Then we got the Hardcore Team War, and I went to this one with the thought like, well, that's going to be a bathroom break for me. It's not because I don't like the ladies involved. It is just because there's nothing in this for me. I don't like Team War. I'm not a fan of hardcore. That being said, for Team War, for hardcore matches, this was pretty good, guys. Pretty Empowered did a great job, but were defeated by the team of Samantha Starr, Ruthie J, Missa Kate, and Maddie Rankowski. There was a loaded coal miner's glove that was passed to Samantha Starr by Baby Doll. Very entertaining match. I thought it was actually okay. Like, for a throwaway, this doesn't mean anything to anybody other than that, the good ladies don't like the bad ladies. It's pretty great. And it's always fun for me to see the NWA women's division when it comes to like Pretty Empowered, especially, who I'm fans of. And I know that my wife is as well, and really enjoyed this match. Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch then make their first match, their first foray into the Crockett Cup after this, when they defeat Dak Draper and Big Strong Mims with their high-low combo. Man, that looks great. I think this is the one where Trevor hit it so hard he just seemed to kind of slide right out of the ring after. Then we get Tyrus and Chris Adonis in their first round match, defeating Judias and Max the Impaler. If I were picking a disappointing match of the night by memory, it would be this one. And it's because we didn't get to see Max really battle Tyrus. There was a kind of a stare down where Max wasn't going to back down, and Tyrus was just looking at them, and then just backed out and tagged Chris Adonis. It was a bit of an out for them, as well, as there was a disqualification when the referee kind of tried to restore order after Max broke up a pin. He DQ'd them and gave the win to the Midnight Riders. There's an interview right after this where Natalia Markova says she doesn't dwell on the past. She sets goals and she crushes those goals, and she's going to prove it in the ring against Camille. Let's see here. He says, yeah, they totally exceeded expectations in that Team War match. Yeah, man. It was better than the 7-person scramble. It was better than the 7-person scramble. The Real Luchador says Tyrus did a lot of staring while Chris wrestled. She ain't wrong, boys. The soft out between Tyrus and Max bothered me a lot. The match was hot before that. Yeah. I mean, Max is a dominating, imposing figure. I got no problem with them, wrestling men or women. I thought it was a legit threat. And there you go. And Jay saying that's something considering the Heat Seekers didn't advance. Yeah, shutout again. The National Heavyweight Championship match, EC3 retains against the Thrillbilly. What happened at the end of this? Again, we'll go over all the details tomorrow night, and Jay and the crew will do Thursday night for night 2. But there was a big boot attempt where EC3 ducked out of the way, and Thrillbilly hit Pollo, knocked Pollo, friend of the show, the manager of champions, champion of managers, right off the apron. Really looked like she took a shot and just went limp on the floor. And he was in shock, Silas, and then he kind of got rolled up by EC3, who scored the win. Afterwards, Silas, went out to the floor, looked down at Pollo, and stepped over her on his way to the back. It was a bit of a what's going on here, guys? So are we going to see a breakup between Silas Mason and Pollo Del Mar? That's something to be seen. I really like that combo. So maybe there's something else going on. I don't know, but that's going to be interesting to watch for sure. And then we did have the second round match for the Crockett Cup as the final match of night 1, where La Rebellion defeated Flip Gordon and Fodder. Vampiro was a surprise show up for this particular show, and it ended up helping them win. So I got to roll through night 2 because I'm running out of time. You had in pre-show your NWA United States Tag Team Championship were on the line in, I believe, a 9-team gauntlet. You had Dak Draper and with Mims eliminate the Now. Magnum Muscle eliminated the Fixers. Daisy Kill and Talos eliminated Magnum Muscle. TNT was in it. They eliminated Kill and Talos with the 3D. The Spectaculars, but it was Rolando in place of Rush. So that's the thing there. And then, finally, Toxin and Arez were in there. I'll get it all to tomorrow night. I'm ahead of myself, but the Country Gentlemen eliminated the Savages to win the gauntlet and retain the titles, I guess. So that was awesome. We then had a match between Silas Mason and Dan Moff, which was a big beefy boys do battle match. Thrillbilly didn't come with Pollo. He was flagged with Alex Taylor, and they were talking about the Southern Six, the Australian group. So maybe there's something there. Big Hoss fight. You had Missa Kate and Maddie retaining the NWA World Women's Tag Team Championships against Angelina Love and Max the Impaler. It was an interesting team. Again, fun to watch. I'll get to some of your comments in a sec. Just want to make sure we have time to get through all this. And then your NWA World Women's Television Champion, Kenzie Page. Kenzie was disqualified in this match, and Ruthie J, her opponent, great young talent, by the way, won by DQ. Title obviously does not change hands on a DQ. Dodie says, now that EC3 wins, he should go pursuing the world title soon. I agree. Heap says EC3 is putting together a pretty nice resume after his rocky NWA start. He sure is. The women's TV title match was a head scratcher. It was not the best match on the show, but hey, Kenzie and Ruthie both so incredibly talented. Willie says Adonis, Sion, and Jordan Clearwater will be factors in Tyrus losing the 10 pounds of gold, which would be happy to the NWA. Yeah. So on to the pay-per-view night 2. In a quarterfinal match, you get Octagon and Mistis Jr. defeating the Brothers of Funstruction. I can hear Jeremy doing one of these from here. Yes. Then we had, Ricky and Kerry, an interesting new heel tag team. It was bad timing, bad placement, because they got Knox and Murdoch, who, nearly decapitated Kerry with the high-low to win. We got Tyrus and Chris Adonis defeating Kratos and Odinson, also another tag team fans really want to see, defeated by the world champion and, arguably still his number one contender. That was with a master lock, I believe. Then we got BFT. The crowd was yelling BLT a lot. They ended up defeating the number one seed, La Rebellion, in this particular match. So your NWA World Tag Team Champions were eliminated. Then there was a Champions Challenge, as EC3 had said earlier in the night he was going to challenge someone and put the national title on the line. Excuse me. And he challenged Tom Latimer, because wouldn't the two of them like to do this until the end of time? He defeated Tom Latimer to retain the gold. There's a story to that. We'll talk about that tomorrow night as well. Then the 6-man scramble, which was Jaron Fulton, I think the son of Bobby Fulton. I want to say nephew, but I think he's the son. Eric Jackson always looks like $1 million. Eric, he's going to go somewhere in his career. The returning PJ Hawks. Good to see PJ back. Gags the Gimp, Flip Gordon, and Joe Alonzo all get in the ring for the 6-man scramble. And it's announced there is one more participant. That man, of course, the last bastion of professional wrestling, Colby Carino, makes his return. And he goes on to win the scramble. He gets a shot at Kerry Martin's NWA World Junior title. So good to see Colby back. Colby, of course, had gone off to the WWE at one point, and just from what I have read or heard, that no fault of anyone's. Just timing was bad with the sale, and nobody was going to be hired, and I guess some people got let go. So there we go. He was down in the Performance Center, where I think his dad is or was a coach still. So we then go to the semifinal matches, where Blunt Force Trauma defeated Octagon and Mistiz Jr. With a double team flatliner. Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch defeat Chris Adonis and Tyrus. Adonis was basically left stranded looking for a tag when Tyrus was knocked off of the apron. There's this whole bit around a knee injury. And they clobbered Adonis on that high-low combo to win there. Then there's an unsanctioned match. Remember from night one, we were just talking about it, where the masked man attacked Scion, and Austin Idol did nothing except leave. It is Scion just enraged, fighting this masked man, putting this unsanctioned match out there. And you know what? I'll get into the details of this tomorrow night, but Scion was defeated by the masked man. And in the end, Austin Idol went into the ring and spat on his own son, Scion. Only in pro wrestling. And maybe Florida. Sorry if you live in Florida. What happened there? She's laughing. Pollo Del Mar spoke about her relationship with Thrillbilly Silas Mason right after that, and said that she blames his actions about stepping over her from the night before to EC3's mind games, and everything's great at home and all of this good stuff. We'll see. And then almost finally, the NWA World's Women's Champion, Camille, battled Natalia Markova. And again, details tomorrow night. But Camille retains the Women's Championship in a barn burner, really, of a match, a pretty solid match. Maybe not the best Camille match, but it's got to be in consideration. It was pretty. She's had some great ones. She exploded with a spear, and I hate the spear. I hate the spear almost as much as I hate the heart punch as a finisher. But it was a good one, and she ended up taking this from Markova and defending the title. Finally, we get the finals of the Crockett Cup tournament, and that is Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch against Blunt Force Trauma. There was a loaded punch wallop by Aaron Stevens that looked like it was going to be, and putting BFT Carnage on top of Murdoch, reviving a knocked out referee. Murdoch made a dramatic kick out, and the crowd seemed to kind of really appreciate that. They ended this one with the high-low combo as well, with Murdoch pinning Carnage and picking up that trophy to win. As we say, they're your Crockett Cup Tag Team Champions for 2023, Knox and Murdoch. Here's how the final brackets look, guys, very, very quickly. I might try to just put this up. I put this together today, and I might try to put it up on the alliance-wrestling.com website. Just to have it for posterity, as they say. Again, I really enjoyed this pay-per-view. It was one of my favorite ones for a long, long time. I was not a fan of 312. And there are sometimes periods of time, like I'm sure like in any wrestling company, you get highs and you get lows, you get highs, you get lows. And it felt for me like we'd been on a bit of a lows for some of the lows for a while. And I was super excited to see that this was so, there was so much wrestling. God, there must have been 40 matches over 2 nights if you put all the dark matches. There's a cat together. And it was a lot, but the effort that was put in, the kudos to tip of the hat to the NWA, not only the talent, but the staff, the management, all the guys we do see, like Gary and Will, and we see Hebon, and we see all of the great talent in the ring and at the announce table, and Kyle and Joe and all that stuff, but also the unsung heroes of the NWA, but a phenomenal job over. They must have been exhausted after 2 days of all of this action. I really thought it was a phenomenal job. Let's go back to the chat here. I'm a little bit behind my time, Yeah, here you go. Yeah, Ruthie J. Doty says, is the most breakthrough of the show. I never expected that she'd be that good. I agree. I remember her being good from Power or USA, whichever it was. But she really stood out in this one, and hopefully she'll impress. I thought the same of Jay Spade too, though, and he never did get his television title shot. So we'll see what happens, I suppose. Ricky's not turning heel. He'll clarify that on Twitter. That's true. Go follow the babyface Ricky Morton on Twitter, and he'll have something to say to you about it. Hardcore Team War, a cut above versus Clowns and Alonzo. Versus the okay. Sorry, Dave. Hardcore War, a cut above versus the Clowns, and Alonzo versus Alex Taylor will be shown on NWA Crockett Cup replay at 6. Dave Scooby to the rescue, because I see only now during the refresh. It is Hardcore Mayhem, the 2023 Crockett Cup, happening in just 5 minutes over on YouTube. Oh, I guess probably it is still 6:05. It says 6 now, so maybe they've dropped to 6:05. The Reluchador says, BFT surprised me. I had them going long into the tournament, but to be honest, they surprised me too. It was good to see them go so far. We kind of all got the impression that they were maybe going to get tired with, Aaron Stevens causing them to lose by DQ as much as he has, but they went all the way to the finals. When EC3, Hebe says, becomes world's champs, they have already planted some serious seeds for Thrillbilly and Tom to challenge him. They really did this pay-per-view right. And despite all of I loved most of the matches, almost all of the matches, in fact. The way, as Dave Scooby kind of mentioned earlier, that they are setting up tag teams for world tag shots, for U.S. Tag team title shots, and reinvigorating that division with this pay-per-view, but also this stuff. They've set up EC3 to be as a credible challenger recently for Tyrus. And they've got Thrillbilly in that mix as well. I really enjoyed seeing all the NWA talent in the main event. So many cool matchups, and that's why the Crockett Cup is just so interesting as well. You don't see them too often. And Doty says, there's a number of big meat versus big meat, from Thrillbilly versus Dan Moff to Murdoch's, yes, versus BFT. That's what makes a Crockett Cup entertaining. Maybe NWA needs to specialize itself in the land of giants. Maybe it worked for the old school WWF. I think we should start calling it meat equity. I'll buy it. I'm going to use that term now, Heaps. We need Cyrus the Destroyer to add more giants in the NWA. Sure. There are no bad. Hey, Lou's here. Hey, Lou. There are no bad Markova matches. There are just some that are better than others. Yeah. Where the big meaty men slap meat. I will be celebrating, Willie says, when Tyrus loses the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. I will say this. As much as I'm with you, I'm sure everyone who's an NWA, wrestling fan agrees with you, and all of us, Willie. I bet you, because I do believe that Tyrus is a pro, that when it's a cat highway around here, when he does lose it, he does it right, and it'll hopefully mean something, because that's kind of who he's presented himself as a wrestler behind the scenes. Ricky didn't turn, he just pivoted. Oh, that's nice. Did he say that, or did you? That's good. Credit to whoever came up with that one. If we do get to see the Australia stuff, he says will be a ton of Thrillbilly wins. That's true. I'm just going to wrap up here, guys. I hope there will be not too much of the Crockett Cup highlighted this season. I want storyline progression for 75. Me too, because I'm going to that. Me and the Reluchador are heading to 75, baby. And why should we pay for a pay-per-view we can watch for free on later highlights? You've got a point. Championship Wrestling from Jeremy. He's got a run, giving his thoughts on the Crockett Cup tomorrow on Toeg. We'll see you then, buddy. Jeremy sums it up nicely. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow night at 6 p.m., 6:05 actually, Eastern Time, for the Other Alliance Guys podcast. And then join us Thursday at 8 p.m. for the Alliance Guys podcast. And look, it's been great sitting in for Jay. Jay, I hope you're having a great time, wherever you are. I've enjoyed this. Thanks everybody for being here with me. And until next time, if I can find it, here it is. We'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA POWERRR every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.